Hello, folks. I greet you one more time. It's time for Homo Politicus, a show in which we talk Nigeria. We talk plenty of Nigeria, more so in a 21st century where Nigeria expectedly should have been sitting in front, if you understand what I mean. In 24 hours, we would be 64 years as an independent country. So let's go there. You know, Nigeria at 64 is squandering of immense wealth and living a beggarly life. On February 10, 1984, the late multi-talented Nigerian musician and journalist Onyeka Onwenu had a hair-raising documentary of the same title, Nigeria, a Squandering of Riches, broadcast over the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. The documentary simply explored the turbulent history of Nigeria from her independence from Britain in 1960 to the sudden military intervention and therefore takeover of government a short 6 years after independence. The very untidy execution of the coup, that's on January 15, 1966, meant that the country committed suicide. Revisionists and prebendalists would not want to talk about this. The truth is that an elephant is born big, so it does not struggle to be big. And might I say that Nigeria was born big, and with natural endowments in human and natural resources, she was waiting to take her place in the sun. But alas, like the prodigal son, she gobbled up the immense gifts, no thanks to the very corrosive effects of the uneven windfall of sudden oil wealth, corruption, persuasive mismanagement, and rudderless leadership. So at 64 years of age, Nigeria, my country, your country, is in a very bad place by choice. Are we damned? Let's have a conversation now. And my conversationalist today is a man who has spent the better part of his life in this country. So she knows much about the story I'm trying to tell you. Let's meet and greet the ebullient Cyril Abaku. Cyril is a broadcaster and communications expert. He finds time to talk Nigeria. Cyril, I greet you. Welcome.
Thank you, Citizen Jones.
Yeah, but may I start by congratulating you. Happy independence.
Of course, I accept that wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Whether it's good times or not is irrelevant. If you turn a new year, turn a new year.
Okay.
Yes, and in this case, our country has turned a new year.
Yeah, so we are 64 years old, but should not have been here.
Well, so now let's begin the conversation.
Okay.
Should not have been here because, according to the story or your prologue, you did cite the documentary by Onyeka Onwenu.
Okay.
I think I've also seen it. I've seen a part of it. A squandering of riches. I think that it is squandering of the opportunities, a squandering of even personnel.
Okay.
Because every society, every country thrives on its people, not so much the resources, but its people.
Yeah.
Yes, who turn those resources into just anything else, industry,
gains,
jobs, and what have you. So Nigeria can be cut into two.
Okay.
And by that bifurcation, you can say that anything government has not been a part of has sort of prospered. If you look at entertainment, to a relative extent, sports.
Oh yeah.
The arts, we've largely blossomed.
The arts would include visual.
Most definitely. The federal government cannot take the glory for Professor Wole Soyinka winning the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1986. So this is where we are. All of the things that require personal endeavor, Nigeria have succeeded.
We're still talking arts. We produced Professor Ben
Enwonwu, for example, the first black man for the Queen of England to pose for.
Yeah.
Yes. Ben Enwonwu, Chinua Achebe, like I said, JP
and Bruce Onobre. The list is endless.
The list is endless. So in all of those areas where Nigerians didn't need government to help them, they've blossomed. So, but every other thing on the other side where government needed to be a part of the story has died. Now, so it means that the problem is government. Now, but even before I come to the problem being government, let's also say that even in government, we've seen people, Nigerians, who are individually successful, but at the level of government have largely failed.
Yeah.
How do I think Professor Kola Motosho made that point some years ago? That as a people, we are prosperous, we've done well in our various endeavors, we have succeeded. As I mean, you have even Nigeria today, you have the likes of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Okay.
There was before now there was this Professor Olika Ransom Kuti.
Okay.
Professor
Health.
Thomas Adeye Lambo. You know, and the number of them who went on to distinguish themselves internationally. Even Professor Babatunde Oshotemehin of NACA, who later became a UNFPA.
The list may not be complete if we don't mention late Justice Udo Udoma, Chief Justice of Uganda.
Yes.
Taslim Elias became the Chief Justice of the Gambia.
Yes.
And Mr. Hussein, who was sent by General Gowon to be the Inspector General of Grenada.
Of Grenada.
Yeah.
Yes. Then I mean, in that same connection, we've had, I think, the Justice Akinola Aguda. I think it was in Botswana.
Botswana. Yeah.
So if you look at this galaxy of stars, we've had them. Even in Nigerian journalism, we've had them.
Oh yeah.
Trailblazers, you know. But the problem is there is a disconnect.
Harnessing these resources.
There's a disconnect between the Nigerian and Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigeria, I mean, for the better part of 64 years, has failed, has colossally failed. Don't let us call it any other name. But in terms of Nigerians, look at even on the president's cabinet today, when you hear names like Professor Ali Pate, that's the man that can hold his own anywhere in the world. The one who sits on top of Ali Pate, the minister himself, Professor, is it Dr. Ketu also?
Okay.
We are told he's a...
Do I remember?
He's a frontline...
Their portfolios.
Yeah, but I mean, health. Yeah, we learn he's a frontline medical personnel in America. So when you look at that...
And as we sit here, Cyril, no less than 3-4 Nigerians are in the cabinet of President
Joe Biden
of the United States.
Exactly. So that tells you that...
one of them is the Undersecretary for Finance.
Exactly. Now, again, if you look at pre-colonial Nigeria, okay, the Bini were a civilization in their own right.
Okay.
There was the Oyo Empire. Okay. We've had these spots of or elements of brightness and of glory.
Yeah.
In a manner of speaking, we could say that colonialism dealt us a blow. It's okay. But whatever happened to human resilience? And whatever happened to nation building? And whatever happened to looking at us and picking the pieces? So Nigeria as a country, as a collective, has disappointed itself.
When I mentioned that Nigeria committed suicide on January 15, 1966, I thought you were going to nudge me.
Oh, sure. So let's so let's even go there.
First of all, before I talk about January 15, Nigeria has chalked up no less than 9 military coups, 5 of them successful, 4 unsuccessful.
And then we've also had about 10 conferences attempting to have a conversation on how
10 conferences reports, yes. So it tells you right away our problem is not necessarily constitutional.
No, it's not.
But people have said it's more attitudinal than it is conventional.
I agree. Because
okay, January 15, 1966, there were 4 rogue premiers and 1 rogue prime minister. The 5 majors, revolutionary they called them, in their revolutionary ideal, and zeal, eliminated the rogue prime minister, the Yoruba premier, the Hausa premier, and didn't touch 2 Igbo premiers. More so, didn't touch, the Kupis didn't touch Igbo top flight politicians like Mbadiwe, Azikiwe, and all the other Iwes, not to talk about military personnel. And so there was going to be a lot of belly aching. And that culminated in the
so-called
salutary counter coup of July 29, 1966, which took the lives of no less than 264 officers, mainly of Eastern Nigeria origin, chiefly Igbos.
Yes. But now you see, again, I'm glad that we are now down that road. So let's get there. Fast forward some 58 years later.
Okay.
Right. We're in a country where we have IPOB in the southeast.
Independent people of Biafra.
Secessionist tendencies all across the country. In the north, we've had the CNG. In the south, we've had Igbo and his co-travelers. There is even the Yoruba.
Niger Delta.
Yes.
Also. Put simply, almost every part of Nigeria is
aching. Yes, the component parts are terribly aching. Now, so what we need today is leadership that is visionary.
Okay.
That is centripetal, is that the word? That is, yes.
Centripetal.
Yes.
Not centrifugal.
but centripetal, yes.
Yeah.
That has a dream to genuinely
see, but at 64, I look back at my country and begin to wonder. There are three major ships which we have not dealt with: citizenship, settlership, and indigenship.
So the key to address, I was going there actually, the key to addressing Nigeria is to once and for all put the national question on the table.
Do we understand what the national question is?
This is the problem, because if we don't, we will continue to go around circles. Okay? Societies all over the world have thrived on people who become citizens and want to give their best to their communities. I have a friend, a mutual friend, I have to say, in Canada, who was with us here in Nigeria just a couple of years ago and relocated. Today is a political. In fact, the other day he joined the board of directors of a university in that country. You could never do that in Nigeria.
It's very prominent in one of the counties, that is local government.
Kitchener. He's a councillor actually.
Yeah.
He's a councillor. In addition to that, some days ago, he said he had joined the board of directors of a university, because those are societies where they look at what you can bring to the table.
Oh yeah.
So it matters to them that you are a citizen and that you are able and willing to deliver your civic responsibility.
Can we talk about some drawbacks which otherwise would be our fault lines? People seem to gloss over them. The fault lines include clannishness, greed, avarice, and so on.
Religion, creed.
Religion, creed. Okay, yes. Creed, religion and all that. Can we deal with them?
No, we can. Citizenship is not intended necessarily for integration. Integration is a byproduct of citizenship. Citizenship is intended to exalt excellence.
That's it.
When you exalt excellence,
you become a proud citizen.
People naturally gravitate to what works. America is a patchwork in fact, America is a patchwork of the world. When we learned government in secondary school, we were told that America should have been called United Nations of the world, while the UN should have been called United States. But yes, you see, but the founders,
look at the imagery.
Yes. But you see, the founders of the UN perhaps thought better, because America wasn't about ethnic, it was about the states that Louisiana and so on. It was
the 13 original states.
Yes, that came together. But the UN was more concerned about ethnic identity than it was about just states of the world.
Otherwise, the UN, if you remember, in 1948, gave birth to Israel.
It did.
Based on what you've
said. Because they realized that World War I and World War II, World War II particularly, that ended the League of Nations and gave back to the United Nations, was essentially fought for the sake of ethnic superiority or racial superiority, if you like it, the Germanic area superiority that Hitler was pushing over and above everyone else in the world. So they realized and said, look, we need to tone down on this. So let the nations unite. Nigeria has never, I'm not sure that there's any, maybe there are, of course there should be, the 2014 National Confab. I think Professor Kingsley Moado also did some work when he wanted to be president, but there hasn't been as much a cross-sectional document that we can say this is a Nigerian manifesto.
Okay.
Not partisan, but national.
At a time like this, we cannot but draw parallels with other countries.
Yes.
Let me mention the name Rwanda. You know where I'm going. In April 1994, Rwanda, as we did, committed suicide.
They did.
And but many years after, Rwanda has picked up the pieces, broken pieces of her life, and Rwanda has become a go-to country.
Largely because of one man's leadership. Again, I mean, we have to put it out there.
Leadership.
Paul Kagame.
People say he's a benevolent dictator. Does it help?
Perhaps it does. But in Nigeria's own case, okay, in Nigeria's own, like Rwanda, it is not like there are laws that have empowered leaders to be dictators.
Yeah.
But because Kagame's own mind and
necessities.
Vision, yes, you know. But you see, Kagame's own mind and vision are the sort that drive him to do the things he does. In Nigeria, where the law,
yet he's African.
Yet it's Africa. Nigeria that is supposed to be a democracy, presidential democracy,
and a leader for that matter,
and leader and
big brother.
Yes, and isn't a dictatorship. We find government. President Buhari and Tinubu, for example, they spend money that isn't appropriated for. We've seen them do that. If they had even used those monies to do the good things, Nigerians would have said, okay, we've seen what you've done, carry go. But when you're spending money on the most frivolous things of life, one begins to wonder. So, because leadership is not management. Management can be very objective, may not care so much about how people feel, may just be interested in implementing the rule book.
So long as you're promoting the good
of the company, people. But a leader thinks beyond management. A leader is a visionary. He has empathy. Yes, he is compassionate. He understands people's abilities and can work with you on a human level and you still achieve the goal. Nobody says just be a leader and not be a manager. You can always blend both. But the fact that the Nigerian president is somebody who once it comes to power, in fact, they say he's the most powerful person in the world. I don't understand.
Wherever that is coming from. Cyril, let me tease you a little. Is it possible to be your own man in Nigeria when you assume public office? As number one citizen, for instance. So we just talked about Paul Kagame.
I think Buhari was his own man.
Okay.
Obasanjo, to an extent, asserted himself. If he didn't, Atiku would have been president after him.
Okay.
Yes.
He stopped Atiku.
He did, as big as he was. Atiku was the behemoth. Atiku's PDM gave back to the PDP. The PDP was essentially a structure. But Obasanjo stopped him in his tracks.
But he was unable to interpret that power for the national good.
Yes, now exactly, you are spot on. And that's where we must take the discussion to now. Which is to say that when you have power, what do we then do with it when we have it? We must learn to raise leadership that is not greedy, that is not after its own self, but that is after the interest and well-being of the people. If we Obasanjo's government alone spent $16 billion on power, we don't know where that money went.
And nobody's asking questions.
You know that famous story of Mr. Makonjola, the staff of the defense ministry, and the money that were awarded for some defense contract, whatever, or how all that money just, we don't know where all the money went till today. Obasanjo attempted to take us in the right direction early in the day by setting up the Puta panel. Nobody knows where that report is.
We have talked about the Oputa panel.
Because it wasn't backed by law.
It was not backed by law.
Yes, but
could that have been deliberate? Because
looking back now, how can I doubt?
If it drew inspiration from the same panel that was set up in South Africa, you could say the president at the time was cheeky.
Now, so in reality, from the personal to the subnational levels, almost everybody, every generation, or every group has a score to settle with Nigeria.
Okay.
So we must go there. We must be able to resurrect the panel report and serve justice. Look, given what Nigerians suffered under Abacha alone, there was a writer, Ozo Maxim Uzoatu, he's the name for
Ozo Maxim, yeah.
Somebody walked up to Ozo, I think close to the National Stadium, and told him casually, they don't kill your friend. You know who the friend was? Ken Saro-Wiwa.
Okay.
It left Ozo numb for it. It literally took something out of him. There was a day all the of him was at the news offices. at the news. They came and whisked all of them into the Black Maria and taken them away. So all they was trying to, the justice officer who came to pick Oda spoke in his language, spoke Ish and said, Oga, better enter this motor. We are not speaking English here. People who have been through such horrors, how do you say tomorrow that democracy has come? Let's move on.
Well, seriously,
Even in the Soviet Union, as soon as Stalin died, the following day, I think Khrushchev took over, right?
Nikita, yeah.
Yes. After when Khrushchev said all the police state needed to end, they ended the police state and the purges immediately. So there must be a deliberate attempt at reimagining, reimaging, and recreating Nigeria. Reinventing Nigeria. There's a necessity for that. But to think that we can keep on kicking the can down during and hope for a different outcome.
See, because I look at the 1920s through the 1940s that bettered Professors Wole Soyinka, Chinua Achebe, bless his soul,
Parasoki Bo, J.P. Clark,
name them.
Even Okara,
the other writers,
Chukwuemeka Ike,
yeah,
Cyprian
Ekwensi, you know, both Cyprian and things fall apart. What is his name?
Yeah,
Professor
Chinua Achebe.
They all worked at the Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation.
That was where Achebe met his wife.
Okay.
Yes, Christy. You see, the fundamental issues are never really discussed. If you look at the leading lights of that generation.
So otherwise, I'm saying a country that's produced that generation can be this beggarly.
Those men saw their friends from the other tribes eye to eye. Most of them were multilingual. They could speak Yoruba, Igbo, sometimes even Hausa. They were a lot more centripetal than we are today.
Oh, okay.
What was that? A lot of Nigerians have not even been exposed to Nigeria. We're so insular, so insulated, so isolated, and then this minor tribal competition of my tribe is better than their tribe.
Yeah.
It is because leadership has not thought it necessary to create a fountain,
yeah,
that can draw us together, that we can commonly drink from, and that can help us thrive on values than on fault lines.
Yeah, see, the producer is asking us to begin to take it home. So, in going home, therefore, should we say it's too late to reinvent the wheel?
No. I'm glad you said in going home. We need to build that home. We have a house.
Okay.
But we need to create a home out of it.
Yeah. There must be a home in that.
Yes, and once the home is created, the lights are on, we will run to it. We won't have to wait for a vessel to tell us it's home time. We will run home. But we've not created that home for ourselves.
But
it is the reason even the few who are left are running out and they know Jackpa.
Hold on. We say the key problem here is leadership, but the leadership will be thrown up by this same warped Nigeria.
Citizen, if we honestly took a census of Nigerian leaders elected by Nigerians, I'm sure you can count them on fingers of one hand. A lot of them are there on stolen mandate. It is true. And then the courts come to bless the mess. That's where we are.
Oh dear.
People, they steal the mandate, they know what and then they come to, what if somebody who didn't rely on you to get the power, what does he owe you? We're not able to punish bad behavior. For Nigerians have been pummeled into serious docility. We've said this time and again.
Would it be shame?
If you look at this country in the past 30 years, there have been no new ideas.
You know, just 2 or 3 days ago, I read a little something about what I knew already but took for granted. We are the world's chief producer of cassava, yet not enough gari.
Do you know? It is such a shame.
Yeah, because I look at the byproducts of cassava.
I grew up in a place that was bounded by 2 communities that are known for
homogeneous.
Yes, no. That are known for producing very good gari.
Okay.
Back in River State.
All right.
On the one hand, there were the Ogonis, Kesarewa's tribe.
Yeah.
They made very excellent gari. Then there was the Ikwere on the other side, to the north. The Ikwere also made very good gari. I mean, yeah, you would have very good gari. Now, I'm in the southwest, and the story is about Ijebu Gari. Citizen Jones, let me say this to you. Today, the sort of Gari that we will say this one does not have starch, feed it to the goats, is what is now being sold in major markets, even in Lagos.
And by the way, let me humor you a little. Do you remember the mad cow disease saga?
Yeah, it's been
that
a long time.
Swept through Europe? Do you know it was cassava, the cyanide in cassava, that ended it? And the former governor of Abia State, what's his name? Orji Uzor, he exported cassava to Europe and made money. But so, that money, nobody knows.
No, but if you took cassava to Europe and made money, what you should have done now was to get experts who can research into cassava, like crude. You know, you have petrol, diesel,
over 42 byproducts.
Good. So we can now look at it and say, okay, how do we begin to extract from cassava and take it into industry?
Please don't forget to mention palm oil.
Palm oil.
One byproduct of palm oil is the soap we use in washing clothes.
Yes.
And having a bath.
So Nigeria is abundantly blessed with.
We are blessed
with resources, both human and natural.
So why we squander these resources?
The cost is government. The cost is government.
All right, folks. Regardless, we'll be 64 years old in 24 hours. And I'd say a happy birthday, a happy 64th anniversary of independence to you all. The debate will continue. Has it been a bumpy ride for 64 years? Is it too late in the day to make amends and so on? I want to thank my conversationalist, Cyril Abaku, for his time. Cyril, ours is to mold opinion. We have done it. We allow the decision makers to take advantage. I'm out of here.
We hope they do.
I hope they do. I'm out of here. By the time we meet again, stay blessed. Bye-bye now on behalf of the Backroom Boys. Thank you.